We are going live. We are live. Good evening. It's Sunday. It's 8 o'clock. It's time for some Doctor Who. And tonight we are doing Aliens of London and World War III. And with me tonight is Chris, as always. Say hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
There we go. No. It's just standard now. We can practice now. It's expected. Tonight we're doing Aliens of London and World War III, Doctor Who. I guess the best thing I can say about this episode, when Aliens of London first went out, there were a couple of things about the episode that, even at the time when it went out, was like, this is possibly not brilliant, but I you can have fun with it. And I think that's the best thing that you could take away from Aliens of London and World War III is the amount of silly fun that you can have with Doctor Who. And because, let's be honest, we're dealing with characters who unzip their head, and it's a literal zip. You know, it's so ridiculous. It belongs in a Monty Python sketch. And you can take that one of two ways. But when it's an actual zip, it's so camp and over the top. I think that maybe it needed to go a little bit more ridiculous for it to be more accepted, I think, as the story. But there's a lot of farting going on in this, a lot of fart jokes, and what were your initial impressions when you first saw this episode?
Oh, mate, I cringed at it. I really did. I thought it was really cringy, and I stayed cringing at it. Boomtown I thought was a lot better, but this was like the most cringe I could handle in Doctor Who until the Absorbaloff turned up, and then it was like, oh, them Slitheen, they're all right, weren't they?
Yeah. But I mean, like, there's maybe I think that we're dealing with extremes, and I think maybe because if you think about it, they done the first episode, which was really Rose, which was the kickoff, and that was kind of a shock to people to have to do with Autons, because if you didn't know who Autons were, it was kind of a quick sort of the older Doctor Who fans would have been like, oh my god, the Autons straight away. But if you weren't a Doctor Who fan, you had to pick up on it really quick. So it was a real fast-paced episode to get into it. The next extreme then was to take them from present day and go as far into the future as possible. Then they went the other way for the third episode, Unquiet Dead, and went into the past. So, but what they did was they attached onto a familiar figure with Charles Dickens. So they've done those sorts of extremes whereby they've gone from extreme alien to extreme future to extreme horror, I guess, with zombies, and now this was kind of like an alien story, but for younger audiences.
Yeah, I completely understand why they did it, but I mean,
no. But what I'm saying is that, like, it's not the question of understanding it, but you can see why, because, like, given how like I said, I loved last week's episode, Yeah, Quiet Dead. But it's very horror based, and so this episode is kind of like lightening it up, just to push it through that other. I mean, regardless of what you think of Series 1 of Doctor Who, it's a roller coaster ride. That's exactly what it is. So, anyway, with this episode though, I mean, it's clearly for a much younger audience. Like, these are characters that were more suited to the Sarah Jane Adventures than to Doctor Who, even though Sarah Jane Adventures hadn't been created yet. So, but again, the Sarah Jane Adventures was an antithesis to Torchwood. So, and we got something of that coming later on. So we'll get to that when we talk about Torchwood. When you'll know what we're on about when we get to it. But yeah, anything you'd like to say about this episode before we get into it?
It was definitely a good episode to watch with my boys when they were younger. They would have been 6 and 8 or 6 and 9 at the time, or 5 and 8. Yeah, it must have been 5 and 8. So yeah, this was good for them because it has got some good slapstick comedy in it and the fart gags and that. It's not a hateful episode. Just I haven't watched it in a long time, so I'm gonna have to reassess it tonight. But the last time I watched it, I was like, "Oh, this is a bit cringy." So we'll see.
I mean, I think this episode has its ups and downs. Well, I think that there are. It is dealing with a much lighter tone, but it is very much dealing with the because everything's a little bit over the top. The ship crashes over the top, the pig aliens over the top, the reaction from the British government is over the top. Everything's just a little bit overdone, and I think that tries to balance out the fact that you've got this story going on then that's dealing with what happens with Rose and her mother and her being away. So I think that it's trying to perform a balancing act whilst trying to have a lighter touch as well. Because I don't think that, I mean, from what I remember of the story, I mean, I've watched it a few times, but from what I remember of the story, they don't really dwell on the fact that Rose has been gone for a year. They touch on it and they address it and they have the whole scene where she slapped the doctor. But I really
Jackie has quite a heavy touch there.
Yeah, but once that's over, they don't really go back to it.
Yeah.
Like Jackie has the reaction of wanting to contact the police about the doctor. But once that's done, when she rings that hotline later on, it's pretty much she's just more concerned with Rose. But she's not really. They're not really dealing with the fact that she's been gone for a year. They touch on it, but they don't dwell on it. In fact, talking about it now is actually dwelling on it more than they do in the show. So, I don't know really if there's anything more to add. Really, I think there's stuff we could talk about throughout the show. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything more to add onto Aliens of London just yet. Like there are things that I want to bring up, but we'll talk about them when we get there.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go if you are.
Yeah, I'm ready. I think it's very much, even though I'm carrying on talking about it, it's very much an episode that does speak for itself. It is, even though there's a couple of subplots that they touch on it as a standalone pair of episodes, they are very much what you see on the screen. It's an honest episode. I'll give it that.
Yeah, I mean it's not trying to be anything too clever. It's just trying to do what it's trying to do, which is just give you an alien story, an alien invasion Doctor Who story.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what it does.
Yeah, but again, it's not doing anything horrific. It's not giving you any gore to speak of. It's a bit silly, is probably where the best way to talk about it. Some interesting stuff though that goes right into the show. Lots of work by Morbill and Mike Tucker, and with the effects as well. Some interesting stuff there. But I'm ready to go if you are.
Yeah, I'm ready, mate.
So if you're ready to watch Aliens of London, it's already queued up.
I'm paused on Trafalgar Square. That's how queued up I am.
Oh, mine's at the BBC logo. Mine is. I'm not that far along. Mine's literally, I'm setting up the BBC logo. So I'm going to press play, but I think Netflix might have to stream a little bit. I don't know. We'll have a look now. I'm not straight in. Do. Trafalgar Square. Rose laughing. Camille Kaduri. I forgot that they give you the full flashback with Rose and everything.
Yeah, I did as well.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? I didn't. Like we're 4 episodes in. It's strange that they give you this. Oh, that's all demolished now. That's now Admiral. The entire area has been absolutely, totally, irrevocably changed. One thing I find strange is that they used to use normally with Rose, if you get a Rose episode, they normally mirror it or bookmark it by having it do the pan down to the earth and then zoom down. And for some reason, when they did this episode, I didn't know why they didn't do it. I don't know. Maybe it's because they had the flashback.
Yeah, possibly.
I believe that estate is actually on the outside of Cardiff. No, that's London. Yeah, that estate is actually in London. And I believe it's not far from where they actually it's set. Oh dear. I mean, when you think about it, this really was the first time they'd ever even addressed the fact that time travel was a thing in a Doctor Who episode. You know, the actual distance in between time, like.
Yeah. And the fact that he didn't have an awful lot of control over his TARDIS.
Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah.
I really do like this opening. I really do. I kind of miss it. Like, don't get me wrong, the new one is very special and very, very effects heavy and stuff. This sells the point. It's very much, you can tell that the pertwee Tom Baker fans that were working on this show.
Yeah.
Aliens of London by Russell T Davies. Again, I think what he does great with this episode, obviously Bad Wolf there. We all know where that's going. What I like with Russell T Davies' writing over most of what gets written for Doctor Who is that Russell T Davies tends to write stories that have both points of view and not really either one of them is either wrong. Admittedly, straight onto a list. It's a good one. It is a good one. Here's what's interesting now is that they've already skipped a year in Rose's life.
Yeah.
But the thing is, because it's part of her timeline now, they can't go back. They can't drop Rose off on an earlier date. And they don't really explain it in Doctor Who, but she is now stuck continually skipping that year. Because this has now become a fixed point. So going back and changing it would cause a paradox.
Yeah, but when has a paradox ever changed anything with time travel?
Rules is rules. I tell you what, considering this is not bad green screen. It's really not bad.
No, it's not actually.
Considering, again, this is another pickup shot. This is now in Newport instead of in London. So, again, this is all been shot all over the place. I don't recognise. Those are very distinctive skyscrapers, and I don't recognise them. Like, I'm guessing that they're more in the outer London area. Ah, there she is. I really do love that ship. It's probably my favourite Doctor Who ship. It probably is.
What? Even more favourite than Peter Cushing's TARDIS?
Oh, wait, well, I said in the series. I didn't say altogether. Hello, Ian's here as well. Hello, Ian. Here we go. Now, this shot coming up here, they dwell on the shot too long. It's a lovely shot, but it's about to hit Big Ben. And if you watch it, you can actually see the backing board as the plaster comes off. Right there. You can actually see the blobs of glue that were holding it on, look. And it's like, crap. Beautiful, beautiful shot of it crashing into the Thames. Now, I believe the splash effect by the water was actually salt. Salt against a black cloth that was just tossed up into the air or with an air cannon to make it look like water, because water doesn't scale very well. Even though there was a CG model. Do you know anything? A lot of extras in the background. They're very, very busy organising the scene. Some very, very nice map work. Nothing overly sophisticated, but just good stuff. And I think what works with this as well is the fact that they start introducing real world people, like news reporters.
Yeah.
There's a character they should bring back. The AMNN reporter. She should always be in Doctor Who. There's no reason why she shouldn't be back. Just move her on. Just give her her own show, like. Move her from being like a... Well, do what they've done with like lots of news anchors. Just give her her own sort of... her own little current events show, like.
Today with Serious Looking Woman.
Yeah, just... Does she actually have a character name?
I'll have a look. Hang on. I've got a thing in front of me here. I've just got to get to the cast.
I mean, the fact that they managed to rope people like Andrew Marr and people like that into this.
Well, I'm assuming, is she going to be down as reporter?
Probably, yeah.
Lachelle Cole. Let's have a look. Yeah, she's down as reporter. The actress is Lachelle Cole.
Yeah.
So no, she hasn't got a character name.
Yeah, she needs a character name. She needs a character name, and she needs her own sort of current affairs show in Doctor Who. Blue Peter.
Whitehall denying everything. Well, that's unlike them.
I believe that's the Heath Hospital behind him, and I believe that's the Heath. No, that's the Royal Infirmary, the Children's Royal Infirmary. They actually treated me when I broke my arm when I was a kid.
So my phone's just told me you've gone live on YouTube.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, well, it probably told me a while ago. I just picked you up, so I say hello, Ian.
All of this is inside the Royal Infirmary, I believe. And there's Rupert, and I can't pronounce his name right. It's Rupert Van Vansittart, I think his name is, and Nyokamori.
Rupert Vansittart.
Yeah. Always plays serious, stern, terse characters. Probably best known for Game of Thrones. And yeah, Nyokamori there. So this gets retconned in Torchwood and done extremely well. The explanation as to how she's there, because she is actually playing Hoshi Sato, pretending to be the Doctor.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good callback.
It was very good. It was very well done, and a good way to retcon it out. Because by the time Torchwood, oh god, there's a man who's potentially an alien now. David Ferry. So I want to talk a little bit about David Ferry, actually. First job he ever did that he became known for was a lovely show, a wonderful show called Nightmare. And if you remember Nightmare...
Are you talking kids with a helmet on? Yeah. I remember Nightmare. I've got
he played a character called Galarok. And or Galarach, and that's pretty much where he came from. And then he was Big Meat, known as Big Meat in Red Dwarf. And he has a wonderful scene with Daniel John-Jones. But the fact that he was, if you had to describe Nightmare to somebody, it's probably a live-action role-play Dungeons and Dragons game crossed with Game of Thrones. It's just brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant.
So Annette Badland, to me, will always be Esmeralda Fishfinger.
Oh, look, Annette Badland, she's... I mean, she always played a villainous character. Always played somebody, not necessarily evil, but smarmy, and has always been somebody that's always got to be taken down a peg.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I mean, a lot of people would have remembered her probably from Bergerac, because she was Charlotte in Bergerac for 4 years, I think.
Yeah, well, to me, I always think of her as she was in Jabberwocky, because I think that's the first thing I remember seeing her in.
Yeah, she's lost a bit of weight now. She's in Midsummer Murders as a forensic pathologist. But she's lost a bit of weight now. She's about half the size. Trinity Wells is the character name. Okay. Cool. All's Well Ends Well. There's the name of the show. Thank you, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Annette Badland, brilliant actress. Has been in Doctors many times. Has been in Holby City. She's done the rounds.
She's not really had a lead part, has she?
No, she's never been at the forefront. I mean, I don't know, but again, David Ferry is the same thing. I don't think he's done anything for the past 3 years, and he's always. I mean, he looks really. If you were to like Google David Ferry, you're going to see a guy that looks really bloody. Like there's somebody who could do a new series of a Cracker, and he could be a Cracker.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I'll tell you what. Before we get off of Annette Badland, I'll tell you what category I put her in. I'd put her in the same category as Miriam Margolyes. Superb actor to have in your ensemble.
Yep.
But not necessarily someone that's always going to take a lead part.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, like it's just a shame that she hasn't got because she was in like The Worst Witch, and she's been in, oh god, I mean, just you name it, like, but she's always been, because what was the name of the character in The Worst Witch? She was like Miss Tapioca or something. It's just, but she always plays characters that have always got to be like, they're a bit too overconfident. They feel like they always cast as a character that always gets the sort of upper hand in the beginning, but it's got to be taken down a peg. I mean, yeah, she's done so much British TV. Like, she's played, like, again, with Doctors, she's played about 6 different people in Doctors. Not one of them's the same character. This is a bit silly, the fact that he just keeps running. Like, what was he going to do if he got to the TARDIS? Like, honestly, he was just going to run into the doors. It's a little bit silly. It's a bit of a pratfall. And
It is, but that's his character, though, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, they call him Mickey the Idiot, I know, but yeah. I love this smile that Chris gives when he steps out of the cupboard. It's just they all pull out the guns. It's a lovely smile. It's just this gormless grin. So yeah, he's really happy there that the TARDIS is working. It's a different look on his face. Again, something that Russell T Davies does extremely well is create memorable characters. You can only look at her, and you've only got to say Harriet Jones, and you automatically in your head fill in MP for Flydale North. I don't have to say it. It's already there. And of course, like a lot of people would say she's probably more famous now for some show called Downton Abbey. But I've been downtown and there's no Abbey there.
Won't she have a decrease in circles as well, which is where I probably remember her for most?
Yeah. And I mean, like, I saw her very recently in Afterlife with Ricky Gervais. I mean, she was the Queen in the BFG as well, and other things as well. I like the fact that he almost has a stroke. His delivery on it, like, it's just like, I've never heard anything so absurd about life. Shaun of the Dead. Is she the flower lady in Shaun of the Dead?
Oh, I can't remember, mate.
Or am I thinking Hot Fuzz? No, I'm thinking Hot Fuzz, mate. Yeah. But she was married to Ian Holm as well, wasn't she?
Was she?
Yeah. Emergency protocols. Yeah, was it Penelope Wilton in there, isn't there? But yeah, she was in. I think she was in every episode of Downton Abbey. But she plays a very similar character, I think, in Afterlife to Harriet Jones. She plays a character that is talking to a gravestone. She plays Sean's mum. Yeah. No, Naoka Mori. She had done like different things here or there. I mean, I think she's currently doing voiceover most of the time, but she's like, she definitely got catapulted. I think she got kind of shafted really with Torchwood, with what happened with the show. It wasn't really. I think Torchwood should have still been going on, because the only reason why it stopped was because Russell T Davies was having issues and he didn't want to do it. So he ended up killing off characters to kind of round off the show. Yeah.
I watched the last series of Torchwood. I watched the one where they all died, and that was pretty much where we stopped watching it.
That was like that was Miracle Day, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, the one we didn't watch was the one, was it Children of Earth?
Oh yeah, no, I mean no. I watched this Grin Bear. Now then, we talking of different aspects of this show. When they wrote it in as Hoshi Sato for Torchwood, I mean, it was great. She's always done like Naokamori's always done these different parts. Oh, interesting note: she was in a show called Lennon, where she played Yoko Ono, and the person playing John Lennon was Christopher Eccleston.
Ah.
So yeah. Now the guy there that you see him right there, he's the guy who shoots the pig alien. He's in Doctor Who quite a bit throughout series 1, 2, and 3. He's actually the Dalek zombie that ends up shooting Dalek Sack
All right.
in Daleks in Manhattan. So yeah, he gets, and he's in Torchwood as well. The same actor gets used, passed around. Normally, if you want some big lumping bloke, they normally you normally get the same sort of 5, 6 actors. What were your first thoughts when you saw that? Because it's a one of those moments whereby you're either going to watch it or you're going to turn it off.
Well, I carried on watching it, but it was really,
Yep, there we go. He's forever shooting aliens. Every time he's in Doctor Who, all he does is shoot aliens. But yeah, I mean, it's a pig in a spacesuit. What are you going to do with that? Like, it's not even like mutilated to be anything else. It's just like it looks like a pig. So yeah, what were your thoughts when you first saw that? Like,
and it was a bit of a head scratcher. I mean, obviously, my initial thoughts were, sandwich. It's not the best, but I persevered with it because it wasn't too terrible. It did look like a pig in a spacesuit.
That's the thing.
It didn't look like a man in a pig costume in a spacesuit. They done it really well.
Yeah, it was done really well. It was just like, where the hell is this going? And I remember seeing that for the first time and just going, this is bizarre. This is just like, that cannot be the alien. What are they doing? Here's what I don't like with this sort of style of writing. I get that they're having fun, and I get that they are not taking the situation seriously. I mean, the characters aren't taking the situation seriously. I don't like the fact that people write in and they laugh when there's not anything actually funny. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's more like kind of maniacal laughter, isn't it? It's where you start.
And they do this extensively at the end of this episode. But there's maniacal laughter has. If it was really funny, then I would definitely be like, okay, that's fair enough. But I don't like characters that laugh when it's not funny. Even if it's even if you get characters that laugh when it's dark comedy. But yeah, couldn't handle the controls.
Well, he crashed in a big Ben.
I love the fact that she makes the connection herself. It's really strange the fact that because from this perspective she's just a doctor, but when you know she's Hoshi Sato and you know everything that she's gone through, it's like oh god, of course she's making the links. She's Hoshi. It's weird seeing it retrospectively play out.
Yeah.
I love Jackie. I do. Like she's probably given him the most amount of stink eye anybody's had. His acting is brilliant, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to see Noel Clark again in Doctor Who. Bringing him and Martha back. Just one. Just have a one-off, like. Again, bring him back. Make the universe more cohesive. Bring him. There's no need to keep writing in, going in all pushing all different directions. If you're going to come back to Earth with these characters. Isn't laughing just a villain trope? See Austin Power. That's what I mean, though. But it's just like it's laughter without purpose. It's laughter without reason. It's just if it was funny, I could understand it, but there's no reason for the laughter. Like even Cesar Ramirez Joker was a laughing clown, but even he had a decent reason for laughing. Again, it's just laughing without reason, or without reason, I should say. I love the banter. Because see again, that's something that would be really good with him and Jodie as well. To have Mickey and Jodie, Christ, that'd be brilliant.
Depends on the writing, of course.
It does depend on the writing. Absolutely, of course, it all depends on the writing. But characteristically, you know that there would be this immediate back and forth between the two. You'd have to look at this relationship between the Doctor, because you write in the Doctor and Mickey, and you'd have to, even with Jodie's Doctor, you'd have to be able to write that and go, but I'm writing just the Doctor and Mickey, and you just end up with that. Yeah, it's a shame that is the Children's Royal Infirmary in Cardiff, and I believe it's closed now. It's been closed for a while, I think. Everything's been diverted to the Heath. Keyword. Yeah, Unit would have something like that, for sure. And again, it's nice with this relationship between Rose and Mickey, because the two kind of had such a casual relationship that maybe he was more invested in the relationship than she was.
No, I do like the character of Mickey. I was going to call him Ricky then as well. He's a good character, and he does come up trumps in the end and prove his worth, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. And again, like with the last time we see him, he's with his new wife, Martha Jones, and they're hunting. They got their own alien hunting thing going on. So he's always been this character that his story arc is one of a resistance fighter, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's very much a Les Miserables type character. He starts off with this very useless, pointless character and builds himself up to this very important resistance leader. He's also happened to be a very good independent film director as well. Is Nolan Clark.
Yeah, I've seen Kidulthood and the follow up to it.
Mm-hmm.
Good films.
I mean, the worst thing I've seen him in is probably Star Trek Into Darkness. I prefer to remove that from my memory.
I've never even heard of it. It's
Oh.
my excuse. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. I was actually excited to see him in it. I thought, well, he was the best part of it, and then he went. Now, I'm not sure. I mean, some of what they film in here is studio, and some of it is Cardiff Castle. Um, I'm thinking that this is studio. There.
The last thing they want.
It's kind of interesting the plot that they're going down though. It's the fact that they're not trying to invade the Earth. I mean, they are, but they're trying to invade the Earth by they take it over because they want to just salvage it. But it starts to show Mickey's progress there.
Yeah.
That he's using the resources at his hand uh, to progress. He's being as useful as he can possibly be.
Yeah, that's not gone well.
Yeah. Quite a nice setup as well. The amount of people that they've got here in the setup, the extras and everything, it's not bad. It could have been a BBC budget. That could have. You imagine what that would have looked like on an '80s budget. It'd be one police.
Would have been one rover, a dog,
Yeah.
a couple of really old, overweight men.
Now I'm not sure where they filmed the Downing Street. bit of it. Because it's quite believe it or not, but faking Downing Street is quite difficult.
Well, yeah,
Because
it's very iconic. You've got to get it right.
well, it's not only that. It's not only is it iconic, but most people don't really. When you think of 10 Downing Street, you think of the door, the black door for the house.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
most,
I've seen it behind the scenes, so I know what's behind it.
yeah, but most people don't really think, oh, it's all made of black brick. Like it's that unusual that most people don't realise that Downing Street is all black brick, and it's something that you remember the door, but you forget the rest of the street. Here is another Welsh actor that is in and out of all different shows. He's in Torchwood. He's in all different productions. He's currently in a show called The Tuckers. It's this it's like a version of, I don't know. It's set in the valleys. It's a comedy show. It's very unique because it's not funny. For a comedy show, it's a shame because it was like there's a couple of times where we've had our own shows, and some of them have been really really funny, and some of them have been done really really well, and others have been the tuckers, and it's just not. Like Satellite City, we had a show called Satellite City, and it was hilarious. Stella went bad. Let's go through this area that we were previously told we couldn't go through. But how absolutely unique are these characters? Like these characters only ever appeared in this show. Aside from Harriet Jones, these characters only ever appeared in the show once, and they're instantly memorable.
Yeah.
Even Margaret, we didn't know she was going to be back again for Boomtown. But they do interesting things. Like, for example, with Margaret, she's always underlit. She's always lit from underneath. And you'll see that later on. Like, he's being quite low lit. I have no idea who the Prime Minister is. Aliens. Here she comes. There's only so many ways of looking at it, isn't there?
Yeah. I mean, whichever way you look at it, that is ridiculous. But as you say,
Yeah.
it's so ridiculous, it works.
Yeah, you're either going to go with it or you're not, and that's. It is surprising, like when you see like David Berry these days, he's actually lost a bit of weight, and it's the same as Annette Badland. If you see him now, you could very much easily put him in like a role like Cracker or something like that, and he would absolutely kill it. Use of CG Slitheen. They're not dwelling on the shots, so it's not too bad.
Don't want to mess about with Jackie Tyler.
Yeah. That is not Matt Lucas, even though it looks like him. Like, why is he laughing? What's funny? What is funny? The animatronic mouth there when they laugh, it doesn't quite work. They shouldn't have stuck on it. It's not bad. No, then the guy that's picking him up there, that is a guy. I think of the guy's name. I've got him written down here somewhere. Oh, it's Alan Rusko, and Alan Rusko, you might know, he was in different episodes of Doctor Who, but he's also he was Bib Fortuna in The Phantom Menace, and he's also Plo Koon in The Phantom Menace, and he's also in Waters of Mars. He's the guy who eats the carrot, who becomes the zombie. So, anyway, let's press stop. We'll get to the end of this year because this is just the next time for Doctor Who. So I'm just going to advance this to the end. Exit that. There we go. So that's Aliens of London. Oh, wait a minute. What have I done? I've exited the actual thing. Oh, dear me. Technical difficulty. So, now that you've seen it again, what do you think?
Oh, I think if there's anything to take away from that episode, that after 3 episodes of top-notch special effects, the rubber monsters were back.
I mean, to be honest, the costumes could have looked a lot worse.
Oh,
I mean, we know, with Doctor Who, it could have looked a hell of a lot worse. What do you think of the design of the Slitheen? Given that they've got this big, massive green ogre-like body, but then this sort of baby doll kind of cherub face.
Oh, they're creepy as all hell, mate. They really are. Them big black eyes and that, like you say, it is. It's like a porcelain doll face. It's I don't know, I'll tell you what. To this day, I'm still not sure what I make of them.
That's the thing. You either right on board with the Slitheen and wish, like, because they did an episode, I think it was Sarah Jane Adventures, where they brought back the Slitheen. And when they brought back the Slitheen, it turned out that it was a baby Slitheen. So it was a smaller, and I found that much more creepy. Like the full size ones, the larger adult size versions were pretty bad, but I found the small child version of the Slitheen much creepier. So yeah, there's things. There's things to talk about with this episode before we get into World War III. The first thing I want to talk about is again Alan Rusko, who played the Slitheen there. He was in the Phantom Menace. I believe he was in episode 2 as well. So he's the I can't remember who he is, but yeah, he's Plo Koon and he's Bib Fortuna in the Phantom Menace with Jabba the Hutt. And he's the guy who's eating the carrot in Waters of Mars that ends up becoming one of the water zombies. You like the Space Pig sequence and Jackie contacting Unit. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of good things with Aliens London. There is, but it's that touch of the fact that they are being more tongue in cheek. They are trending that way for appealing to a younger crowd. It is trying to strike the balancing act of touching all bases, and I mean, there are things like I said, the zip on the head. You either go with it or you don't. You either accept that they've got this zip, which looks like a zip, or you just instantly reject it. You see the pig, and you either go with, okay, what the hell's happening here, or you turn it off. It's really, there's not many ways you can go with that scenario. You either accept it and go with it. The interesting one, the other Slitheen. So we've got a couple of people playing Slitheen in this episode. The other person is a woman named Elizabeth Fost. Now, you won't know of Elizabeth Fost because she's only ever been in 4 things. 3 of those things were Doctor Who, where she played a Slitheen, and an Auton. The other thing that she was known for was a show that we used to have called Playdays, where she was a presenter on Playdays, right? Now, just think, with Elizabeth Fost, she's actually a puppeteer, and she's actually a teacher. She teaches drama, right? But here's the interesting thing. If I was to tell you who she was in terms of how everybody would know her, you'd suddenly go, holy crap. Because Elizabeth Fost was the live-action version of Marge Simpson in the Sky opening sequence that was actually used in the Simpsons show.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, she actually played she was the physical embodiment of Marge Simpson in the Simpsons in the live action, which again they actually used that version in the show when they seen what Sky did and went, no, we're having that. So yeah, but that's who she is. But yeah, she doesn't do any more acting really on screen. She just teaches puppeteering more than anything else, really. And she's very good at it. She got plenty of acclaim for it. What we got here? These episodes were in the first block of filming, early days, trouble finding tone. I don't think they had trouble finding the tone. I think that they were deliberately pushing the extremes. They went from horror to gore to childlike. I mean, the next one after this, after World War III, is Dalek, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's not. Is it? Yes, it is. Yeah. Dalek. Yeah, so you got Dalek, which is a bit of sort of a thriller, and then after that, then you got The Long Game, which has a bit of body horror, with the door opening in the head, so you can see the brain. I mean, they're pushing it in. You get Father's Day then, which is again more of an emotional story. So
emotional with monsters.
But again, these are stories that are. I think what's happening with Series 1 is that Russell T Davies is touching as many bases as he can. I don't think that it's a case of finding the tone. I think he's deliberately taking everybody to these different areas. I think he's literally taking you, because you're on a week-to-week basis. You don't know what the hell you're going to get.
That's true.
And I mean, yeah, you get up and then you got Father's Day, Empty Child, and the Doctor dancing for. Oh my God! Like there are 2 of the most scariest creations in Doctor Who by Stephen Moffat, and one of them is in that episode. Like if you are freaked out by "Are You My Mummy?", there's something wrong with you.
There's something very wrong with you.
God, the bit. There's a bit where I remember watching it the first time. We'll get into doing it when we watch the episode. But I remember I was sitting down with my mates, and we were sitting there watching the episode, and all 3 of us were sitting there just watching the episode of that. And it's that bit whereby he says, "What's that noise?" And you hear, "Are you my mummy?" There's, "What is that noise?" It's the tape machine. It ran out 30 seconds ago. Oh no! Oh no! The turnaround, and he's right there. I was like, run, run now, now run now. So, I mean, yeah, Boomtown again. It's a comedy, Boomtown. Well, whichever way you want to look at it, it's a very much a comedy episode. Bad Wolf. Then, I mean, this is just wrapping it up. Then towards the end of the series, Bad Wolf, Christmas Invasion, Parting the Ways. I mean, Christmas Invasion then is starting all over. So, for series one, I think genuinely, I don't think that it's a question of struggling to find the tone. I think it's genuinely a question of how many bases can you touch through in one series, because you're trying to suck people in, so keep people guessing. So even if they didn't like this episode, they might like the next episode, or they like the episode before it. I think he's trying to. It's going in so many directions that he's trying to please everybody just a little bit.
Oh, they certainly covered the whole range of the genre you get within Doctor Who, no doubt about it.
Well, again, yeah, I mean, they've done future episodes, past episodes, and the alien episodes, and you've got to bring back the Daleks. So, and what a way to bring back the Daleks.
Yeah.
It's how I would use that as a template. Right? If you're going to bring back a villain, like the Cybermen have been done to death, right? We've seen the Cybermen too many times now. Way too many times. Given that, like in the classic series run, I don't think Pertwee ever met the Cybermen until probably the 20th anniversary in the Five Doctors. Probably the first time you met them.
Well, it's got so bad you started dressing like one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. So,
at least you're not a floating head.
Oh yeah, well, I could be. But I mean, there's no need to keep bringing them back. I mean, they're great characters, but there are so many good other ones out there that they could bring back. There's so many good classic villains. You've got to stop. And here's the thing: this is my problem with how they handle the original characters is that if it's not a great villain, they suffer with. I think what they suffer with is a touch of Hollywood sequel syndrome, whereby if it's a good film, then they instantly want a new sequel, so they can grab as much money as possible. But after they've done the fourth film, it's you've lost everything that you can do with these characters. So you start like by the time you get to Jaws 4, nobody wants to see that damn shark again. So it's a case of if you keep bringing these characters back, you run out of them being legitimately good.
Well, it depends how you do it. I mean, I agree with what you're saying about the Cybermen, but in the episode where they went back to the Mondosian Cybermen with Bill, and you had the whole body horror of them saying pain, 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 and all that, they were genuinely sinister Cybermen. If they'd have kept it like that and not gone back to the Iron Man ones.
But I think there's two things going on there. First of all, it was special because they went back to the original Cybermen. So you were getting that. You've seen other Cybermen. You haven't seen these ones. Not for a long time. If you've seen these ones. So that's the first one. So they were Cybermen, but they weren't at the same time. They weren't the Cybermen that we get. They were old Cybermen. For people who were fans of the classic shows of the 10th Planet, they were those Cybermen. So I think that there was a different thing. The other thing then was that the fact that you were getting a genesis of the Dalek story, but it was a genesis of the Cybermen story. Even though it was and it wasn't. So you were getting a couple of things going on there that played into it. It wasn't just a case of, and now here's the Cybermen. Whereas I think with what I think that they should be doing is if you were to take a good idea, a character with good ideas, like for example the Sensorites, right? William Hartnell characters, the Sensorites, go right way back, 1960, end of 63, start 64, I think. The Sensorites were an interesting species and an interesting group of characters. Now, some people have said that the Sensorites are possibly very similar to the Ood. So it's entirely possible that the Ood are an offshoot of the Sensorites. That works fine with me. But I'd like to bring back the Sensorites and have them be, if you're going to write it in, write them as Ood overlords or something like that. But they're more benevolent because the Sensorites were a benevolent species. So you could write them in. You could bring back a story of these characters. If you bring them back and you make it awesome, you've got a whole new, you haven't got to keep falling back on the same sword all the time. And I think it's a bit of a problem these days, particularly with the Cybermen, with the Daleks. They've done it so many times now that people are just, I don't need to see it anymore.
Trouble is, and I think a lot of media suffers with this now. Daleks and Cybermen make really good, cool toys and figures for kids, and they want to sell them.
But they're not selling them. That's the problem. These days, merchandising. Merchandising for Doctor Who now has gone to the toilet. I mean, it genuinely has, and I don't even see Doctor Who T-shirts anymore. And I don't mean like I don't see them on sale. I mean, I don't see people walking around wearing them. I used to. I used to see people with wearing TARDIS T-shirts and stuff like that in the street walking around. Yeah, not just the nerds at conventions, but everybody. Like.
Yeah, I think I know one person. I haven't even got a Doctor Who T-shirt. One of my brother-in-laws has got a Doctor Who T-shirt he wears. That's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, the merchandising has gone just into the bin, and it's because there's no. They stop pushing into because here's the thing, right? So you're on a budget. You got kids. You're on a budget, and they ask for Doctor Who toys. So you got a choice now. You got Cybermen and Daleks and all this stuff. So you've already bought them Cybermen, right? So now the new episode comes out with new, slightly different Cybermen. Now, but there's other aliens as well. Another episode. So do you buy them another Cyberman again? This variation, or do you buy them the different alien? Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things whereby they might make cool toys, but once you've bought one, and that's it. And for people on a budget, they can't afford to just buy the same toy over and over and over, just because this one comes with a new gun. It's just I think that they've botched their own marketing, I think. And because let's be honest, right? What's his face? Tim Shaw. Until he takes his helmet off in the first Doctor Who episode of series 11, he's quite a cool looking character.
Yeah, he is.
And that's a very marketable thing to have that sort of BI mask that he wears on, and to have that body armor. So he looks really quite cool. He's quite a menacing looking character. A very Guyver-esque type of character.
With a touch of RoboCop.
Yeah, but he's a very collectible looking thing. You're really struggling for anything else throughout the entire show then. Through series 11 and 12, to be honest.
I was quite inventive when I was a kid. I mean, if this program had been on when I was a kid, and I'd got the figure of Tim Shaw, I'd have just got a handful of wire and elastic bands to make his little thingy.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff I did myself back then.
Yeah, so, but I mean, the thing is, like, at least what you can say about the series 1 of Doctor Who, before we get into World War 3, what you can say about series 1 is how inventive it was.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with that at all. There's definitely they didn't rely too heavily on the past. They obviously had to use some of it, you know, with sounds and familiarity and that. But what did you have? It was really only Autons at the beginning and Daleks, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, like we get in Dalek, we get a little variety in the museum piece, whereby we get the odd shot of the 70s Cyberman head and things like that. But really and truly, you know, we get End of the World, we get the repeating meme, we get the Moxel Balhoun, you get Camilla. What the hell's her name? No, not Camilla. Cassandra. God, all over the place. So we get Cassandra. You get later on. You're gonna get the mighty Jagrafess or the Holy Hatred Justice Immaculate Rodenfo. Got that out. Yay! I mean, there's all these different weird, and all different types. The Slitheen are different, you know. And you gotta love the way that Russell T Davies is tongue in cheek with these really sort of crunchy names that he gives these characters. You know, they're from Raxacorico Falapatorius. I mean, it's a very crunchy sounding planet name, but it's got a satisfying name to it. So yeah, but anyway, I'm almost ready to go for World War III. So I don't know how. Let's look at.
I've got a spaceship just about to fly over a flashback.
I'm trying to see what it's doing because it's. Go on. 3, 2, 1, 0, and I'm pressing go as soon as it wants to go. It's loading. There we go. BBC television program, and yeah, there it is. Again, my lovely looking Doctor Who ship. Underused. I love the color scheme that they've given Downing Street as well. The inside, like it's. I think it's pretty close to Downing Street itself, but I think they've gone for darker tones. Not the best electric effect. I've got to be honest. Looks like the quantum leaping. Again, I love this title sequence. It's simple, but it's one of my favorites. I think if you look at this title sequence, it's like looking into the iris of an eye.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Produced by Phil Collinson. Yeah, it's just a very naff looking electrical effect. I think it's overcooked a little bit. It looks very two-dimensional. Fair to say what the problem was. It's only sticking to the actual. It's like they've been cut out. It's like a cookie cutter effect just stuck over the top.
Yeah.
This part I like. You sit there with a chair, take a photo.
Cool. Didn't his phone have a small screen?
this. It's oh, um, the problem. I think the problem is that the suit, the people wearing the suit, run differently to how they run in CG form.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not their fault. I mean, you can only do so much with a puppet, but I love the look on this cop's face, man. Nope. Just like there's no buying that story whatsoever. Yeah, he should have been dead. He really should have been dead. I don't think the armed forces are that incompetent. I think most of the CG that's in this is very effective. I think considering the limitations of what they were doing at the time as well, I think that the CG works because like don't forget the things like the Slitheen blinking.
Yeah.
That's all a CG effect. That wasn't an on-set thing. And I think they are trying to use the CG as limited as possible. Yep. See, now they've got this real. You can start to really see the underside light in here, where the
Yeah.
from below. It's more subtle earlier on, but now the evil scheme is out. You can really see it. Yeah, this is Elizabeth Foss playing Margaret here. She actually worked hard to swing her hips to give the Slitheen a little bit more of a feminine walk. I think with a slight redesign, I think the Slitheen could be a lot more effective. Because I think they're almost there. I think that they are. See, the CG is quite this, but the CG is a bit smoother than the actual physical puppet.
It's a lot smoother.
Yeah, but I don't know which I think I prefer more. I think I prefer the CG version over the physical puppet version.
The way they move is a bit Ghostbusters Hell Dog.
Yeah, but the way they move as a puppet is a bit more spitting image. Again, I love the banter. Like it. I do like the fact that it's the family, not the species. So no, it's still marshland. You just built a city on top of it. I don't believe this is true. I mean, I like the idea of the Slitheen. The fact that this is more of a family business as opposed to being a race. So I like that. I even like the fact that by Raxacorico Falpatoria standards, they technically criminals, which I think works well because of the fact that you don't want to portray aliens as evil all the time. So these people are just criminals. So if you, because I think in Boomtown where she goes back, like I can't go back, I'll be executed. So even Raxacorico Falpatorius doesn't tolerate the Slitheen. She looks like an avalanche as well, doesn't she?
Bloody boating club.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like this is what I'm saying with Russell T Davies' writing. He's got this almost whimsical touch with it.
Yeah.
And again, we talked about last week about Ernie Finzesi being the cinematographer on these episodes.
Yeah.
You can see like all this lighting, and he's throwing color everywhere. There's blue coming out. There's reds. There's ambers. It does. It looks absolutely wonderful. Like this is a very warm looking environment. It's a nice moment, this, between
Yeah.
Mickey and Jackie. I like the fact that they've categorized everybody that's an important figure as being fat and overweight.
Yeah.
Like all the important figures, it's kind of like they've gone everybody that used to be a streetwalker that's now got a desk job has just blown up. It's a bit stereotype, but I think it works.
It probably caused some issues on the complaint front today, though, wouldn't it?
It probably would.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's literally it's going like all these people that are in top jobs are all well fed and overweight. And again, they done a really good job with Harriet Jones's character as well, because the next time we see her, she's prime minister, and even though what happens at the end of Christmas Invasion, it's not really. They leave it sort of ambiguous. Like they try to say, oh, the Doctor's right for what he does to take down her government, but she kind of comes back later on with sort of almost vindication for what she did. So that's what's good with Russell T Davies' writing, is the fact that he's writing these characters whereby it's a bit of a grey area whichever way you look at it.
Yeah.
And and with Harriet Jones, she's got the next time you see her after Christmas Invasion, it's really kind of like, oh yeah, no, this is her saving the day and proving that she was right. Now then, as far as I understand it, he's about to sort of hack the unit password with Buffalo. And I'm pretty sure that the reason why this was written in was because there was it has something to do with real world things. I'm pretty sure that there was a leak or something, and like one of the passwords to one of the main MI6 things was like something like Buffalo. It was an animal or something like that. It was. I think that's where it comes from. I'm not sure though, but I believe that's. And the other thing is that you used to be able to go onto the unit website yourself, onto the legit go onto there.
Yeah,
And if you typed in Buffalo, you could get skipped through all the password stuff.
It was good when I used to do stuff like that.
It was wonderful. It just boggles the mind why they would stop doing it.
Because you could go on Matey's website from Rose, couldn't you? The guy,
Clive.
Clive, yeah.
Yeah. They were so good at pushing out all the different marketing, and it was stuff that was inexpensive to do. Like how much would it cost you to set up a web page?
Not a lot.
I mean, and once you've got the domain, like, and it was just there was so much stuff that they did with these shows that they just don't do anymore. They're just not trying, and that pisses me off. We've just missed the entire banter between him and Jackie, where he's just explaining the the level of danger and what he has to do all the time. But
Quite funny on it.
oh, I like the fact that he picks up a baseball bat because he's finding his stones. Like he's and again he's good at walloping stuff. That's what Mickey's good at. It's nice the fact that the doctor's working it out.
Yeah.
She is so good in this. It's the dialogue that saves this. The ridiculous of the scenario and the silliness of what's going on, but the dialogue just absolutely winning. See, yeah. Like, they should have burnt. They shouldn't have done that. They went too far. That's a jump in the shark.
That's Noel's house party.
Yeah,
That's some green spaghetti.
yeah. It's just it should have burnt. It should have just been like it should have just started smoking and just burning and just because I've got vinegar in my eye. It's not pleasant. This speech is kind of very relevant of today. Like the prime minister's not available. The deputy prime minister is health secretary is taken over. He's on the podium giving a speech to the public
Yeah.
in a
The less
desperate
said, the
situation.
less said about that, probably the better, mate.
Yeah. It's it's not a bad plan. It's very true. No, watch this. This is what I want about with the light in. This is a really good example of it. Look at him. He's been clearly being lit from the top. She is clearly being lit from underneath.
Yeah.
They're both in the plane off in the same scene, but because it's the same quality of lighting, it's very subtle. But the effect here is that she's clearly evil. And yeah, unless you really paid attention to it, you just don't know it. See, they're both in the same scene, but she's clearly been lit from down. The light is down there. And again, these sorts of things are stuff that it's just good filmmaking. It's just good TV, good cinematography.
It's only when you start going back and watching these original ones of the relaunch that you realise how far it's dropped.
Oh man, yeah. See, every streets are vacated. Everybody's home, quarantined. She could have changed. She could. I thought she said Mickey's place. So yeah, it's not a bad plan. It's just there's certain shortcuts that you've got to buy into. I like how proactive Harriet Jones is as well.
Yeah.
She's clearly a very smart and very intelligent woman. That's dangerous thinking, that. I mean, the thing is with Rose and the Doctor here is that he is being brought out of his shell by her.
Mm-hmm.
In this relationship, he would have, without Rose, he would have just done it. He would have just ended the Slitheen right there and then. Rose here has warmed him, and she's gone from having a mundane life to being bored with her life to having this life of excitement now. But they kind of tempering each other, and I think that's what works with this.
Yeah, you're right.
If you think about it, the dialogue between her and the Doctor is not really anything special. It's just the effect that they're having on each character when, like, Rose is willing to put him down, put him in his place. Then she's willing to tell him off. I think that's the best way of putting it. Convenient. Go for it. I know that like the Mickey kind of refers to himself as the sort of the man in the van, but as a TARDIS team, this is why I don't think having a large crew is a problem. Is because this is a TARDIS team right now working.
Yeah.
We got three companions here. We've got Rose, we've got Mickey, and we've got Jackie, and it's working. They're all playing off each other. There's no problem with it whatsoever. The dynamic is working, and you've got Harriet Jones as well.
MP for Fly Down North.
She is. Yes, I know. That's right. We got four people now in the playing with the Doctor here, and it's working. It's not a dynamic problem. There is no dynamic problem with having more than one companion. Screw you. Oh no. Yes. I believe that's a bit of. I don't believe that's how many Slitheen there exactly were. I got a feeling that's a bit of split screen going on there. I think they only actually did have 3 Slitheen costumes. Run. 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 Run.
Get out! Get out! Get out of there!
Oh, that could be redone. Because you know what you could do with drones and that these days, that could have been redone. Not that it really needs it, 'cause it's just a quick shot, but that's a night for day shot because they're shooting in the night. It's a weird line here. See, where's that go? What was that? She starts saying something and it just gets cut off.
What the Slitheen said?
No, the Harriet Jones. She just looks up and says Hannibal, and then it just. It's like she was about to start saying something and then just doesn't. It's just a bit weird.
Yeah, it was a bit weird. I know what Slitheen was going to say.
Oh, yeah. We all know what Slitheen was going to say. Very memorable character. Very memorable. Such a likable, just a very likable character. The only likable politician there's ever been.
Yeah, not a very convincing character, then, really, is it?
Yeah, they actually did shut down Parliament Square. I dare say those police are probably genuine police. They were discussing Hannibal earlier on. I understand that. It's just that if you go back and watch the line, all three of them are crouched down in the cupboard, and then she just looks up and just says Hannibal, and it's like she's about to start saying something. Like it's not like it's the way she says it as well. It's like she's at the start of a sentence. It's like it just gets edited out off short. Maybe they were just editing for time. It feels like she was going to say like something like Hannibal, help us, or something like that. Or keep us safe, or something like that. But it's like it was just edited off. I like Jackie's costume choice as well. The costumers have chosen to dress her as a very casual. She's almost chav like.
Yeah.
Like Geronimo. Yeah, but it's just a weird line. It's just a weird line. I think this part as well, where he's dodging the meal with Jackie. Um, I I think what's good with it is the fact that it plays later on. I know it's just like when David Tennant, but he doesn't stay for dinner. And I think like when you get up, it takes like pretty much up to probably the next Doctor episode is probably the time when he actually does stay. Because the Doctor never stays. I mean, it's just that's who he is. He always moves on. Yep. Trump followers. Should be a USB drive, really, shouldn't it? CD's a bit. I mean, it's probably just a visual cue. It's just something that's a nice big prop that you can give to an actor. Whereas a USB stick is like, oh, what is that? You'd have to do an insert shot.
Yeah, CD's shiny.
Yeah. I like the fact that he is slowly getting his stones, though. It's not a rush job with Mickey. It's kind of strange, right? But I always was sort of with Rose on this. It was just like, she can go over and do whatever she wants. Now my son has grown up and he's now moved to college. I'm kind of with Jackie. It's weird, but it's true. Like, even a show like this is just to be able to do that. It's got to be just a testament of how well written it is. Even though this is a very much more a camper lighter show. And there we go. That's Aliens in London. There we go. And that is that done. Oh, right then. So, what do you think of that?
I think part 2 is a stronger episode than part 1.
It definitely is.
It definitely is. Yeah, very well written. I wouldn't have noticed the lighting, to be honest, if you hadn't have pointed it out. Not being someone that does filmmaking type stuff,
Yeah.
This is as far as I get with filmmaking, and I'll put a light on over there so you can see me. That's pretty much it.
They use very theatrical techniques in the show, and so what you'll notice, particularly from series 1, is how theatrical it is. Because honestly, the way they made this show was they shot it and filmed it exactly as you would if you were in a theater filming people on a stage. So when they built the set, so the place that they're in it was actually a factory unit.
Yeah.
That they hired, and I believe they divided the factory into 6 studios. I'm going to say they divided them into 6 studios. When I say divided, I mean they literally just hung a curtain between the different areas. So where the TARDIS set was built was just literally just blacked off with curtains. And most of this stuff, where if you see it, if you would just take the camera back and see what it was that you were looking at with these sets, you'd see, normally 3-sided sets. So the 4th wall is missing. And most of the time, these actors are being filmed from about 30 feet away. With the boom mic is normally on a tri crane So sort of the big 30-foot boom rod that's making them from over there. And because of that, a lot of the time, pretty much everything is done via ADR. So they dub in every line because it's so loud. Because if you imagine, because they're in a factory unit, it hasn't been soundproofed.
Yeah.
So every time somebody walks, instead of somebody walking like on a concrete floor, because it's a wooden set, instead of hearing that, what you're hearing is this.
Yeah.
So everything all the sound has to be replaced. So most of the time, they've got a 30-foot boom mic hanging over the set, which somebody's just controlling via crane, and normally they're filming from quite a far away. So they're filming it like as if you would be if you were in a theater filming. You don't get a camera pure doing a close up. You know, you just switch to like an 80mm lens and put the camera 20 feet away. But you're still able to get the close up because of the lens type you're using. For example, in End of the World, that scene in End of the World where Rose is giving the Doctor a roasting because he's let the TARDIS into her head and all this, and they have that bit of an argument back and forth like, "Who the hell are you, Doctor?" He goes, This is me now." All of that was recorded from way across the room. Just letting them act. It was just letting them act on the set. Just they captured that by not having the production crew right up and in their face. They're able to capture it from further away. They're allowing the actors to really go at each other and act properly. But again, it does cause issues whereby, because of how they filmed it, that they had to ADR everything. So, but it does lead to, again, a good-looking show, a really good-looking show because of the way it's been lit. Warm colours. If you had to categorize Series 1, I would say Series 1 is actually a very warm-looking show.
Yeah, there's a lot of angles used, isn't there?
Yeah, it's definitely got that sort of warm hue range going right the way through. Even up to, I'd say Part of the Ways, because even that's the scene in Part of the Ways where he's got his hands on the wave machine, which is about to press the plunger down. If you look at that, even in that moment there, it's still being lit very warmly. There's not a lot of cold lighting, whereas when you get into later episodes with David Tennant, there's a lot of greens being used, throughout that sort of thing. So I don't know, the deliberate choices being made. But I think that with Series 1, Series 1 is definitely a very warm-looking show. Very warm, welcoming, inviting show to I guess to snare audiences. But I would say episode 2, Aliens of London, World War 3. World War 3 is definitely the stronger episode, which is good because you want a second. It's great to have a nice episode 1, but if you're doing a two-parter, your episode 2 needs to be the stronger one. And World War 3 is definitely a stronger episode than Aliens of London. Aliens of London, you got the pig alien, you've got the zips on the forehead, there's all the fart jokes, there's still fart jokes in, but they don't really draw attention to it.
No, it's a lot less slapstick, the second episode.
Yeah, you get the whole goofy thing with them bloody Slitheen exploding at the start, which is just it's goofy, but it's one of those things. I would have preferred it to see a smolder, to see like smoke coming off it, like as if the skin was burning from the acid. But maybe that might be a bit too gruesome for again.
Yeah. So if you're 9 years old, how satisfying is a load of green spaghetti in a wall?
Exactly. Yes. See something like that explode. You're catering for a younger audience, which is what these 2 episodes are doing. And I think that you get some great. However simple and however silly the plot is, the dynamic back and forth and the dialogue is absolutely on point. And it's the dialogue that saves the banter between the Doctor, Mickey, Jackie, with them talking, interfacing with the Slitheen, the back and forth between them, whereby he's like, "What did you say he's going to do? Triple the flammer? You're making it up." It's like he's talking nonsense, like and if he's been caught out.
Because I haven't seen this for so long. I literally think I've forgotten how good the writing was in this era, because we've spent a lot of time talking about the last two series.
Yeah.
Since I started doing the streams with you, we have focused a bit on that. I've forgotten how tight the writing was in the RTD era completely.
And
the banter in that was superb.
Yeah, it's banter. It's little things. There's small little things being thrown in. Like, for example, when he says, do you fancy a drink? And Harry Jones just says, no, you pass to the left. And oh, sorry. It's just one of these small things, but it just adds a little bit of flourish to the script. And even though the story is not the greatest Doctor Who story ever told. It's nowhere near close. But because of the banter and the writing and how sharp and tight the dialogue is, it makes it very enjoyable.
Yeah.
And the CGI is like I said, the electricity effect at the start is very two-dimensional. It's very flat two-dimensional effect. It looks very much more like they quantum leaping than being electrocuted. And it's not the best of. It's just a generic lightning effect that's been rotoscoped and got a glow effect slapped on top of it. The missile effect, where you're following the missile through London, it looks, by today's standards, it looks horrible. It's being covered up by this awful blur effect to make it look like it's rocketing along. But overall, for the tone of the episode as well, it's not trying to be too serious, because it's we touched on this earlier. It's playing to a different crowd.
Yeah.
If Unquiet Dead was playing to the fans of horror, this is playing to tongue-in-cheek and a younger audience. And then if the next episode is playing in Dalek, is playing more to nostalgia for the classic Doctor Who fans that want the Daleks to come back, and it's playing a much more thriller type episode. And this again, it's just the Russell T Davies era starting off here is just touching every single episode, is touching every base, and it's taking you on a roller coaster ride. Because as whatever you can say about all the good episodes and whatever you say about all the bad episodes, it is taking you there. It is just taking you, like, you're going in all different directions. And
well,
so
it's given me more hope for. Is it Bad Wolf, the one with the big brother and the weakest link in it?
Yeah.
And when we was talking about doing this, the two we've just watched and Bad Wolf were the episodes I was like, oh, do I really have to watch them again? but because I'd forgotten how good and how tight the writing is, I actually I've enjoyed that this evening, where I didn't think I was. I thought I was going to be like, well, I'll watch it so we can talk about it. But again, I found myself shutting up and just watching the episode, because it was a lot better than I remembered.
This is the problem with we talked about it with Aliens of London. We made mention of the fact that Naoka Mori was in this, and then she was in Torchwood, and Russell T Davies was writing Torchwood, and then he wrote off the show because he was going through a rough time, and then he didn't want to do Torchwood anymore. And it's not that he didn't want to do Torchwood; it's the fact that he was just having such a rough period in his writing that, and with what he was going through in life, that he just kind of fell out of love with it. And the only reason for Torchwood to stop going was the fact that it wasn't cancelled. Torchwood has never been cancelled. It's just on hiatus until Russell T Davies wants to do it again.
It'd be nice if he does do it again, as it was.
The problem is the fact that I think that all they have to do with Torchwood is allow the people of Big Finish to give it a good go, because I don't think that I think that there are talented people out there that can write for Doctor Who and are writing for Doctor Who. It's just I don't believe the BBC is willing to give them a chance. I can understand why they'd be nervous about doing it, because it's a lot of money. If you're talking about 1.2 mil per episode, maybe that you're willing to throw in. It's a lot of money to be throwing into an episode that might end up. Oh, you go, yeah. I believe that's my son. I could be wrong, but looking at that there, Numbskull 2602, I'm very, very positive that he's my son.
Are you saying the name's a giveaway?
I just recognised the right thing. So hello. Children of Earth is still the best torture there's ever been. Hi. There's good.
I've never watched it.
Yeah, there's good stuff in Miracle Day. Children of Earth is good because it has it doesn't have a pleasant climax. It doesn't get to the end and go, and everything's fine now. It gets to the end of Children of Earth and goes, everything's still bad, and it's the best we could manage. So yeah, Aliens of London and World War III. Yeah, World War III is much better than the episode, and it's. Ian said? I've got my thing. Bad Wolf is a fantastic episode. I'm gonna have a quick. We just shift over for a second. So we got Bad Wolf. Boomtown, Bad Wolf.
Well, I can tell you why I disagree with that with Bad Wolf.
Oh God, it's the one with right. So right. Oh, you'd actually forgotten about the episode itself. So I don't hate the episode, but I don't like. It's very dated. It's got Big Brother. It's got
Trini and Susanna.
Yeah, it's got bloody Weakest Link. It's a very. You've got to know those references to know where. It mentions Ground Force. How's it going, old man? Yes, it's going good. It's going good. We're having a great time. We should have been on earlier. We've been watching some Doctor Who, and it's been good fun.
That's my reasons for not liking it. Is the fact that it's dated itself. It's like when the Offspring do the song "Pretty Fly for a White Guy," where they talk about going on Ricky Lake. Well, Ricky Lake is the same thing. It's putting something in a specific time period. If you've never seen, like in say in 15 years' time when this is considered classic Who, if you haven't seen them programs, you're not going to know what the hell they're talking about.
I hate to tell you this, man, but this is considered classic Who.
Not yet.
It's getting there, man. 15 years, man.
Got to be cancelled first.
Oh dear me. So yeah, I mean, I think that if they were going to do the Slitheen again, given what they did with the Jadoon, I think that looking at how much the Jadoon improved in the animatronics and the look of them from the last show, I think the Slitheen would be a very good character to revisit. Bad Wolf has some cheesy things in it, and it may not hold up in the future, but the highs it reaches, I think, make it worth it. The problem is that it's a very pop culture reference, and it's very much of 2005. And in fact, I said it was actually of Yeah, I would have said that it was of actually 2002 more than 2005, because I think it's kind of going out of date by 2005. Weakest Link was kind of already over. It was more of a US show by then. Anne Robinson was more doing it in the US than she was in the UK. Big Brother. I never liked that show to begin with, but I understood it.
Well, Ian's just said that your personal opinion is wrong with a smiley face. But yeah, it's just personal opinion. It's subjective. So,
it's right. So the actual idea of it being on board the game station is a good idea. It's just the usage of the games. It's just what games they decide to use. Because had they invented their own sort of game shows and stuff, it would have been a bit more timeless. So I think that with I just think that, again, what we were saying about the Trini and Susanna droid and the android, they are all
Android, very funny.
yes. But yeah, the fact that they drew from what were shows at the time that were already kind of. I mean, they probably just shows that Russell T Davies enjoyed watching it. To be honest with you, that's probably what they were. So I like the idea of it, of having to go from game to game. It's very much similar to sort of Mind Robber, I guess, where you go from sort of challenge to challenge. It's a very similar sort of style. But I just feel like where Mind Robber still works, I feel like this one kind of is out of date now. So
yeah, I kind of put this in the same bracket as the Alan Moraine episode of Deep Space Nine.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. I mean, if you're going to draw a comparison, Alan Moraine, counting for
You know I'm right, don't you know I'm right.
Oh God. No, I put Bad Wolf better than that. I'm sorry. I know where you're coming from. But yeah, no, I can't do that to Bad Wolf.
The fact you're laughing about it shows that you partially agree.
For those who haven't seen Deep Space Nine, so Hal Moraine is an episode whereby Ben Sisko and crew get stuck inside a game and they have to follow the game by doing this damned awful nursery rhyme. And where Hal Moraine works better is the fact that because it's a made-up nursery rhyme and it's a made-up game, it doesn't date. Whereas having a show that's based around actual, it's like as if they based it on 3-2-1 or The Price is Right or something like that. It's just like these like 3-2-1. They could have had a lethal dusty bin driving around. But we would have got the reference, whereas other audiences wouldn't have. Move along home. Yeah, move along home. No. So yeah, yes, it's dated a bit, but I love how it builds to the end. I was horrified when DWM said that it was set in the Big Brother house. Oh man, I mean, I like the fact that I like the things that they did, the extent that they went to. Like, for example, they actually had Anne Robinson doing the voice of the android. They actually had Davina McCall doing the voice of the Davina, yeah. So I liked all that. They had Trini and Susanna doing their stuff as well. It wasn't like they done any shortcuts or anything, really. The sets were pretty good. It looked like I will talk about Bad Wolf when we get there. But I mean, what I liked with the episode was the fact that it was pretty much a follow-up to the long game.
Yeah.
So and we didn't have sequel episodes. It's not very often Doctor Who does sequel episodes, and it was what I liked with it was the fact that it's one of those episodes whereby you do see the repercussions of the Doctor's actions, which is something that they very rarely touch on. They don't very often say, "Oh, the Doctor did this and got it wrong." It's not like for example, not to be unfair to the Seventh Doctor here, but they could have done an episode whereby they went back and done the Happiness Patrol again and visited what happened after Happiness Patrol. I'm only picking on that because it's one of the episodes whereby that's one of the ambiguous episodes as well. You either love it or you hate it.
Is that the one with Bertie Bassett?
It is, yeah. But it's also an episode that happens to have a real good theme about how you police people's thinking. So it's of those things. So yeah, you missed the chat about World War III and Aliens of London, but what do you think about the farting politicians? We talked about that a little bit, about the fact that they did draw attention to the fact that all people in higher power were all overweight. So
And the fighting was good for children.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it was, yeah, but I mean, yeah, they initially sort of went, if you're in a top job, the fact is you've probably got a weight problem, and yeah, you probably spend a lot of time sitting, and yeah, it's the fact that they it is something that I don't know whether or not they'd be able to get away with today. I think I don't know. They I think they kind of could. If they want to make that sort of. The problem is that if they did it today, unfortunately, the way that they work today with the social commentary is the fact that they probably draw attention to the fact that all these people are overweight.
Yeah, they would. There'd be a snowflake meltdown of body shaming when there was none of that in the episode at all.
No.
It was just a case of they had to be big to fit inside the suits. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and but the thing is that it was a little bit of a commentary on the fat cats, as they call it. That's not to shame them or anything, but that's literally what they call them. The big businessmen are called fat cats. That's just that's used in news and media. So
well, we could be more diplomatic and say nutritionally challenged felines.
Well, no, they're not. They're not nutritionally challenged at all. If anything, there's no challenge there whatsoever.
It's a challenge to have a lettuce.
Yeah.
So I can say that I am fat. I don't care.
So with World War III, I think that there's things that obviously they laid in the seeds for Bad Wolf by having it painted on the TARDIS and having this and that. I tell you, what did you think when you first saw Bad Wolf being seeded in? Because I remember, I think I was first intrigued with Gwyneth when she first went the big bad wolf, and then she stepped back. Because that's really where I first. Because there was a bad wolf taking notice in End of the World. Chandu, it's okay. We're on 8 o'clock every Sunday. It's not a problem. So yeah, I mean, Gwyneth really sort of drew attention to the fact of the big bad wolf. So there was like, oh, I wonder what that is. And then there's this guy writing Bad Wolf on the side of the TARDIS. And I mean,
well, I think that is when, because like I say, I watched this with my boys and that. We used to sit down all together and watch it. I think that's when we noticed was like they mentioned Bad Wolf a couple of times, and then of course in the next episode you've got it mentioned with the helicopters and it's really seeded in. But yeah, it was it was probably this one where I started noticing that it had become a feature.
So I got to be honest, I don't think I noticed it the first time around watching Dalek. I don't think I noticed the Bad Wolf reference in Dalek. But I think I noticed it because I remember that because Dalek was such a strong episode that I mean people forget how powerful the first series of Doctor Who was, but we were getting news articles. Like an episode would come out and we would get a news article about Doctor Who the next day. The next day in the newspapers it would be and Doctor Who done this and Doctor Who and wasn't this an epic? Particularly with Dalek, there was a case of wasn't this an epic episode? And then I remember reading the article and saying, "Did you notice the helicopter was called Bad Wolf 1? What is Bad Wolf?" And it was like, "Holy crap!" And then, yeah, I mean, it was. I didn't notice until then, really. I mean, we'd have been halfway through the series then. The episode title was embargoed till very near the end of the season. Yeah, I mean, I think that you still think that Dalek is your favorite episode of the revival. I think it's a very good way of bringing back the character of the Daleks, and I think it's a very good way. Again, it's how I would do this, the Weeping Angels. I don't think there's a need for once you've done an army of Weeping Angels, you need to strip it back because you stop these things from being deadly, stop these things from being creepy or scary. The more it's like Alien. You know, in the movie Alien, you have the one, and it's terrifying. Aliens is an action movie. There's thousands of them. They're everywhere. You still get the odd scare here or there, but it's nowhere near as frightening as the first one. It's a totally different atmosphere. It's a totally different tone. So if you want to bring back the Weeping Angels and you want to make them scary, just bring back one.
And not the Statue of Liberty either.
No. Just the one. Just have a wounded, dying, fighting for his life, weeping angel, and you are stuck with it and you can't escape. And that's all you need. You keep it that simple. It's like Jaws. Jaws isn't scary because there's 1,000 sharks. Jaws is scary. There's one. There's one shark. And that film is absolutely the best. The best example I can give anyone of how to make something damn well terrifying. You know, if you want to know how to do it, that's how you do it. You take a group of people, you put them into an isolated place, and you just have this one thing. Angels Take Manhattan is as scary as Ghostbusters 2. Oh man, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about Ghostbusters 2. The first time I saw that painting move, I remember being in the cinema when that painting done that. I was like, oh, okay. Vigo the Carpathian, he's not playing games. That painting still freaks me out as well, particularly in the game. I've got the game of Ghostbusters, the game for the PlayStation, and in Ghostbusters Central, they've actually got the Vigo Carpathian painting.
Yeah.
And when you're playing the game, sometimes the painting moves, and it's just freaky. But Angels Take Manhattan's the scariest Ghostbusters 2. Yeah, I mean, they did the crash of the spaceship, and they've done all that. And once you've beaten them a few times, it's kind of like the Borg. You know, the Borg in Q Who are quite scary because they're unstoppable.
They're literally like robot zombies, aren't they?
Yeah, and then you get Best of Both Worlds comes along, and Best of Both Worlds is like boom. It's just like everything just like blows up. Now Picard's gone. He's been kidnapped. People are dead. There's a whole colony's been assimilated. The threat is just escalated. And then by the time you get to Voyager, well, Voyager just walks up to a panel and the Borg showed up and they just press a button and then they're gone. Like, it's just, the Borg are so easily defeated by Voyager, it's just a waste of time. They even fly into the Unimatrix Zero, into the main Borg hub, and they start picking a fight. And I'm like, come on, it's the Borg! What are you doing? So law of diminishing returns. I don't think it's a case of that. It's a case of overuse. It's a case of how you use them. I don't think it's diminishing returns because I think that you can always have an episode of Doctor Who with Weeping Angels. It's just that you've got to be able to write it in such a way that you go, right then, here's the scenario. Who the Borg spoiled them first? I don't know, because Who I liked Who. And I thought it was a good episode. It paved the way for 7 of 9, and well, that's a whole different conversation. We get into a different territory here. But for me, I think that, because don't forget, Who was affected by that was a law story more than anything else. So that was a very much a data law story. But yeah, we're getting away from Doctor Who here. But I think if you're going to write a Doctor, I think it's very easy to write a villain, Doctor Who villain story, provided that you're not going down the whole, I'm evil. Because again, I know, Chris, you missed it, but when we done the 10th Planet to me is probably still the best. And I mean, as much as I love the second Doctor and I love Tomb of the Cybermen, I've got to hand it to 10th Planet for having the right motivations for the Cybermen. Because the Cybermen in 10th Planet are not trying to upgrade people. They're not there to, oh, you will be like us. They're not doing any of that. Their entire point for invading the Earth is we are dying and we need to survive. And it's the correct motivation for the Cybermen. And they're desperate. What you end up with the 10th Planet is a story about desperate people trying to survive, willing to go to any lengths to do it, and willing to create a massacre and a genocide just to survive. And it's that sort of storytelling. I mean, it was, considering it's been 56, 57 years. Yeah, 57 years. For that, well, no, it's not. Is it? Because it was the end of Hartnell's run, so 50 plus years, 54 years, say. For that sort of storytelling to still have plenty of legs goes to show you the strength of what you can do with the right sort of circumstances for the right sort of characters, which is why I think that they keep overplaying the Cybermen. Is because the Cybermen are now just they're Daleks. They're just fascist. You will be like us, or if you're not like us, you'll die. So the Daleks are eradicating things that aren't like them, and the Cybermen are just making things like them. This the kind of two sides of the same coin. Whereas before they were a much more interesting villain because they were almost survival. Even when you get to Tomb of the Cybermen, Tomb of the Cybermen is literally the last survival story. They've been extinct by Tomb of the Cybermen. You know, that's the last recourse for the Cybermen is to entomb themselves, to put them into these catacombs to keep them safe for the time when they could revive, for when they could flourish. And again, that's what makes that story work so well, is because you start off with one or two, and then you end up with a whole headload of them.
I don't know. I'm still thinking of 7 and 9.
Yeah. But that's what works well with these sorts of. That's what works well. Best of both worlds is kind of like Tomb of the Cybermen, in that you start off, you know the threat of the Cybermen, you know what they are.
Yeah.
And then it blows up because there's one or two, and then they become unstoppable. People start dying, and then all of a sudden, you've got a whole team of them all over the place. Cybermen are basically zombies. Well, no, Cybermen are a way of. I mean, it was a case of fears of like surgery, fears of operations and transplants and being put on iron lungs and things like that, and this fear of what happens and how far you take. How much of a human can you remove before they stop being human? And that sort of commentary hasn't really been a thing for Doctor Who for quite a while. And in particular for Cybermen as well. And it hasn't been like you could take a person's head, put it into this. That's one thing I really hated about Series 12 with Cybermen, was that these were bloody just suits. It's like, oh, they're going to put on the Cybermen armor. No, they're not. They're full of hydraulics and stuff. They're not just people wearing silver suits. I mean, they've just brought them down.
We said no Series
12. I know. I promised. I know, but it grinds me. It grinds onto my nerves.
It's a short step from that to drone heads. Stop it.
You started the drone heads, don't you? Don't you dare. That's not on me. So I think if you're going to bring back these characters, if you're going to bring back things like the Cybermen, if you're going to bring back I would bring back other characters first. I bring back the Vord. I bring back many other characters. I mean, bring back the crap ones, the ones that really need the help. Bring back the Crotons.
I'd like to see more Sea Devils.
Yeah, bring back the Sea Devils. Do another Sea Devils, but do a great Sea Devil story. Just do something about, again, they're all about survival. because they are even if you do a space colony whereby they try to survive in space because they can't survive on Earth. Get away from Earth. Great stuff. Fantastic. Go for it. I'd love to see what happens if the bloody Sea Devils met the Ice Warriors. I'd love to know what's going on there. Bring them back. But
there's so much they could use, and they just keep churning and churning and churning.
Look, when I remember watching Series 10, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was Series 10. I'm pretty sure it was Series 10. And one of the things I'm fairly confident of that was because I know it was kind of like a favourite of Peter Capaldi, Series 10. It was kind of like, let's give Peter Capaldi what he likes and what he's asking for. And there's small things that pop up. And when I saw Alpha Centauri pop up on screen for just a second, it just made the whole Doctor Who universe a little bit more cohesive. To have that one character pop up on screen, played by the voiced by the original actress, by the way, who's, I guess she must have been 93, 94, voicing that character.
Yeah, she was getting on a bit.
Yeah, well, she must have been because she was like 50 odd when she was voicing the character, and that was in 1973. So, I mean, to bring back that character for just that one bit makes the Doctor Who universe just a little bit more tight. And it's fan service that's done in the right way. Like, it makes people go, oh, I know who that was. But it doesn't dwell on it, so it's not trying to sell you the show around it. It's not trying to make the show, this is what the show is. It's just handing you this little thing that fans will get. And that's fan service that's done. There's nothing wrong with fan service, right? People bitch and moan about fan service done in all of the, like. Just to give an example, I've seen a lot of people bitch about Crisis on Infinite Earths because it's all about the nostalgia and play into the fans. Yeah, you could look at it like that, but you could also say they just say thank you to the fans for sticking with them. Because they literally give the fans everything that the fans want. Like, literally everything. Like, the last 5 minutes of Crisis on Infinite Earths is probably my favourite out of the DCEU entirely. It's just... and it's not because it's doing anything sophisticated, but it's literally going... You like this? You like this? You like this? Keep having it. Keep taking it. And it's just I think that there are ways of doing fan service where it doesn't require. If fan service requires you to shell into it, to buy into it, then that's fan service that's being done wrong. Whereas if fan service is there as just a way of adding to the story, then that's fan service done right. And if it's not asking you to I don't know, if it's not asking you to invest in the fan service or rely on your nostalgia for the fan service for it to work, then it's done right. Like I watched Supernatural. Supernatural is a brilliant show. It always falls on fan service. Always. It deliberately goes out of its way for fan service. It's what is built on the show. It's how the show works. But it does it in such a way that, I mean, and Supernatural's been going for as long as New Who. And it's you can't look at Supernatural the same way as New Who because I don't think Supernatural has changed since Series 1. I think it's the same show, the same quality of writing, the same, but the characters and the cast are constantly giving back to the fans. And we were talking earlier about all the things that they did in at this period in Doctor Who, whereby they had websites, they had blogs, they had cut down confidentials, they had all the games, they had all the merch, they had all the... They were constantly throwing out, even when the show wasn't on air, they were throwing out Doctor Who stuff to keep the fans invested. And now there's nothing. They don't go to Comic-Con. They don't go to show up. I've seen Matt Smith at a convention about 4 times within the past year, and I haven't seen Jodie at a convention since they announced the launch of Doctor Who series at the end of Series 10.
Well, be fair to her though, she has been about recently telling us to stay at home and wash her hands.
Oh man, she got flack for that, and I play hell with that because leave her alone. Like, the girl's just trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, it was unnecessary flack. I mean, I'm not knocking her for it. I'm just saying that is pretty much outside the series. That's all we've seen of her.
Yeah, and that's bang out of line criticism as well. Just bang out of order. She's looking to the Doctor Who fans and just saying, she cares, and she's just telling people to be safe. Like, what's wrong with that? And bang out of order. Different kind of villain. I know. What's that? Surprised you haven't brought back Omega. Oh man, look. I've said this before. If I'm gonna bring back a Doctor Who villain, bring back Omega would be nice. I want Sutek the Destroyer. Give me Sutek.
Yeah, I've said that as well. Although if you bring back Omega now, he's got to take on the Timeless Child.
Oh yeah, it was a good show. Yeah. But no, if I'd bring back Sutek, I would. And here's the thing. I like the fact that I would like to bring back Sutek in a role, because somebody said, they could bring back the Time Meddler, the meddling monk. And I thought to myself, do you know what? They really, really could. But I would only accept them bringing back the meddling monk if it was actually played by Tyler Butterworth. Because his father played the original, Peter Butterworth played the original meddling monk. And Tyler Butterworth looks enough like his old man that I would just go, just go with it. So I was like, and he's a Time Lord, so bring him back. Like,
the only trouble is with the Time Meddler. When I've watched that, every now and again I expect him to turn around and go, "That'll be £1, please." Because the first thing I ever saw him in was Carry On Camping.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to see Peter Butterworth. Chandler won't know who Peter Butterworth is, but he's Carry On star. He died. Oh God, he was. He must have only been like 50 odd when he died. He wasn't that old. But Tyler Butterworth, his son, is an actor, and he looks enough like his old man. I'd accept that as a new regeneration, no problem at all. But that would just be a nice contrivance. That would be a nice thing to just do. But yeah, there's so much richness. Like we've said before, they could bring back the Rani. There's all this stuff. Like, where is the Rani now? The Masters destroyed Gallifrey. Like, what are you gonna do with like, would the Rani put up with that? There's so many things that they could do. And it bothers me that they've been very limited. And I know we keep going bouncing back and forth between where we are now with Series 12 and where we are with the show. You've never seen? You've seen a couple of Carry On films. Google them. But Peter Butterworth was. I don't know if he's a crusty actor. I would say he's a bit of a cherub. Would you say?
No, that's not worked.
Wait a sec. I can add it to the stream. So there we go.
There you go. If I do that,
there's Peter Butterworth. Now, if you Google Tyler Butterworth,
hang on, I can do that.
I believe that's the first link right there.
Emojis. Oh, he does a bit, doesn't he?
I mean, yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
He's definitely got the right look.
Yeah.
But there's so many, like, given that we've had.
But I'm
No,
high.
I'm not getting into series 12. No. I'm not doing it. We still at series 1. We're still talking about Aliens of London.
Oh, there you go. Hide that screen. Get rid of it.
There we go. Oh, look at that. That looks a little better. We shared a bit more screen. So yeah, we talk about Aliens of London now, and yeah, there's things that they could have changed. There's things that they could have done better, but it was a very much the cheesy, lighter tone, going for aliens as an alien invasion story. It was taking a different spin on an alien invasion story, whereby they were only invading because they wanted to destroy the world so they could sell it off. They stopped it from being a race to being a family business. So it was a kind of a commentary on I guess a commentary on monopolizing businesses. Things like Sony, Disney, those sorts of businesses that are willing to run over everything to just get their way, and be damned to the damages that are caused. So it does that, but and again, it's a subtler hand. It's as much subtler hand than what they do today, which is more of a sledgehammer. That's pretty much all I've got to say about Aliens of London there, and World War III. Unless you've got anything else to add, I've got. No, that's. I think we've covered everything. We've talked about Annette Badland. We've talked about Rupert Van Start. His name.
Francis Tart.
David Very, Naokamori, Torchwood, Penelope Wilton. We've gone through the entire. When I wanted to talk about with David Very, and I touched on this earlier, was David Very started off in a show called Nightmare, and Nightmare is a show I would give my right arm for them to bring back.
They did a one-off recently.
They did it 2013. It was for Geek Week, and YouTube paid for them to do it. And what a brilliant show! What an absolutely brilliant show! Great theme tune as well. Fantastic theme tune. But the premise of the show, if you're not aware of Nightmare, basically was that the contestant would be given a helmet to wear that blinded them. The helmet come right down over their head, so they couldn't see. And then they were guided through a series of Dungeons and Dragons type challenges, where their movements were being controlled by the 3 people back at the castle.
Controlled badly by the people back at the castle.
Yeah. So sometimes that they wouldn't make it out. And you'd have things like whereby they'd have this stone walkway that was going through like the middle of the screen, and they'd start walking across the platform, and then stones would start dropping out. And because the person couldn't see, there'd be like a chasm either side. And if they stepped off the thing, they'd actually fall. It was done, digitally. They weren't really falling, like, but and that'd be the end of the game. That'd be the end of it. So the person that was blind.
If anyone hasn't seen that, I think the first series, some of the episodes are actually on YouTube. It's well worth a look.
It's brilliant. But we mentioned David Very there because David Very played a character, and again, when we were talking about this show, how weird the show is. It's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, but all the actors were kind of kayfabe in it. So the person could interact with the actors. You could ask them any questions that they liked, but the person would always respond in character. There was no script. But it was such an amazing show that like it was one of the shows whereby you could watch it and just go, I love this character. Like just to give you some stupid, like the villain's character's name was Lord Fear. I mean, that's who he was. That's the main big bad villain of the dungeon was Lord Fear. God, what were the other ones? Igneous. I mean, Traeger was the guide.
What was the name of the little bloke who played much in Robin
Pickle?
Hood?
Was it Pickle?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the actor's name.
Oh God. I mean, I remember Hugo Myatt, who was Traeger. David Very, who was Galarach. God, but I mean, what an incredible show! What an incredible show! But anyway, if you've got nothing else to add for Aliens London and World War III, I think we can bring this to an end.
I think we've pretty much covered it. Yeah.
Yeah. So next week we are going to be doing 8 p.m. We're going to be doing Dalek. So that's going to be fun. That should be
that's my favourite one of the series. So
it's a good way to bring back. So we'll be covering that from top to bottom, much like we have with these. That's my notes exhausted. I don't have any more notes on World War III or Aliens in London. Aside from the fact that I would like to say that this episode probably wouldn't have looked anywhere near as good if it wasn't for Mike Tucker. And again, doesn't get given enough credit for what he did with the show. And he's a guy that's been involved with Doctor Who since the 80s. I mean, he was the guy that was responsible for building things like the cyber guns for Earthshock and things like that. So he established the later shows of Red Dwarf with Mel Bible, doing the Red Dwarf stories. And he's a very creative guy. He's often overlooked as a very creative and what's the word I'm looking for? Inventive. He's very inventive with how he does things, and he's often overlooked for it. So I think that this episode we should definitely hand him a little bit more praise. So that's Mike Tucker, and I think that's us done. Next week, Dalek, 8 p.m. And until then, have a good night.
Stay safe. Wash your hands.
And the part.